Hello and welcome to the AV Forums Movies Podcast for Monday, the 17th of April. God, I went back in time there. Tonight I'm Kaz Harlow and I'm joined by Simon Crust.
You'll believe a man can fly.
Tom Davies.
It's the 3rd of April.
And Mark Costello.
Hello.
It's not the 3rd.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, I am Ron Burgundy. This week, we're going to talk about how Nicolas Cage might just be the best thing at the cinemas at the moment, with Renfield going up against the likes of Super Mario Bros. The movie, which we'll talk about later, and Assassin Club. What a great title. Assassin Club. That just sounds great. Don't we all want to go out and watch Assassin? Anyway, and Mummies. Discuss the best and worst Superman sequel. Obviously, the best is Quest for Peace. And investigate some good Gerard Butler. In fact, there's been a lot of goodish Gerard Butler recently. But anyway, some good Gerard Butler on 4K in the form of Plane. Second Sight's latest lavish box set. I mean, they're always lavish. This one's expensive, though, but they are always lavish. Picnic at Hanging Rock 4K. Arrow's latest, Cronenberg's Naked Lunch in 4K, and Arrow's upcoming release of, I say highly anticipated. I was being very sarcastic, but I'm guessing a lot of readers probably thought I was being serious. Highly anticipated.
No, we really
Michael Mann release. Yeah, well, you guys got it. Which is Blackhat. I mean, it's the Michael Mann film everyone has been asking for after 5 other Michael Mann films that we prefer in advance, which we haven't got. Catch up on Mando, Picard. Some of the
it was going so well.
Yeah, other good TV out there.
Save it, Si. Save it. We'll catch up on that later.
We have got a proper Borg battle on our hands. Haven't seen them in 20 years. Other TV, like The Last Thing He Told Me, The Night Agent, Slasher, and Shrinking, and we're not going to talk about True Lies. Well, we might talk about True Lies, but it won't be the TV show because that's just not good. Anyway, competitions, Mark?
Yes. Current compos. You can win a bunch of Blu-ray titles from my recently updated April top 10, like The French Dispatch, Project Wolf Hunting, and both Criterion releases, Wonder and Mystery Train, plus a whole host of 4K titles such as Babylon, City of Lost Children, Second Sight's Martin, Arrow's Naked Lunch, and the 4-movie Star Trek Next Generation box set. So head over to avforums.com/competitions to enter. All competitions are open to eligible AV Forums members resident in the UK, as ever.
Nice. Previous winners: Supporter Nathan won Living on Blu-ray, Star Supporter Count Jedi won Women of Twilight on Blu-ray, and Star Supporter Simon Holden won The Virgin Suicides on 4K.
Well done.
Hurrah.
That was a really, really quiet clap. Just saying. Where's Atmos when you need it? All right, we've had a bunch of pretty bang average movies to go through in the cinema in the last couple of weeks, but shockingly, I feel like we skipped this one, John Wick. So I'm just going to really quickly say it's really long and really good. So
that's well worth waiting for. We really did miss you last time.
I had a cracking time watching John Wick at the cinema. I do get that that people have problems with the series, and people who've had problems with the third movie are going to find the problems are kind of doubled down in the fourth movie. I probably had some problems with the third movie out of all of them.
More stupid dogs, Kaz?
I thought that I love the dogs. I thought that the first movie was, far better than it should have ever been. It should have been like straight to video Liam Neeson style flick with Reeves in it. But I thought it was tremendous. It was tight, and it was for a low budget. They did it really well, and they did some good world building. And I enjoyed them doubling down in the second movie. But when they doubled down on the double down in the third movie, the lore and the rest of it was quite a lot, and it did get a bit silly. I still got a kick out of it, and I think the fourth movie brought some closure, and I was expecting the over the top set pieces. Donnie Yen's great. He's absolutely scene stealing, and there are some ludicrous moments. I mean, Yen is playing a another blind sword wielding assassin guy. The only
Are we sure
difference
he's not
is,
actually blind and all those roles he's just pretending to
I
see?
mean, he isn't actually blind in this. I mean, come on. The fight scenes are just impossible. They're like worse than Rutger Hauer Blind Fury levels of preposterousness. But
Those two words, those don't belong in the same sentence. Worst and Blind Fury. Come on,
yeah,
kids.
and it's absolutely ludicrous, but it's so entertaining. I mean, just the way he handles being blind and fighting people, and the way the script tries to make some kind of vague sense of it. It's just it's comedy, and so when it's that level of entertainment, I got all the passes in the world, and John Wick gets some nunchucks. I got a lot of time for that. I enjoyed the hell out of it. In fact, I was in Paris shortly afterwards, and I did a scout of all of the nice locations from it, and those the steps that are fundamental to John Wick, and also probably strangely like something out of a Laurel and Hardy movie when you watch it, are a lot to climb. So climbing them and fighting hundreds of goons is an achievement, Reeves. Well done. I've got all the time in the world for this, so I enjoyed it.
Did you enjoy
Excellent.
it, Kaz?
Everything else I've seen recently at the cinema has been pony. Okay, Mummies. I saw the trailer for Mummies when I took the kids to see Puss in Boots last week, which was cracking. And we saw the trailer for Mummies, and my daughter's big into Egyptian stuff, and she was like, I got to see this. And I had a bad feeling. But there's some ideas. The concept of these mummies who have to integrate into the modern world isn't such a bad concept for, a kid's animation. But the way they have it happen in the movie is horrifically bad.
But did your kids enjoy it, Kaz?
Mystical.
Did your kids enjoy it?
The kids just about enjoyed it.
That's all that matters. I'm sorry, but you don't get to criticize it if the kids enjoyed it.
No, I do.
Sorry.
It could be more than just flashy lights. I mean, the kids
doesn't need to be, Kaz. It's for kids. Doesn't need to be.
The kids will be gripped to a screensaver because it's the TV on. You can pause the TV and say, listen, I need to talk to you about something. And their eyes will be looking at the shifting images on the screen that they know by heart because they've seen those shifting images thousands of times. And they'll still be gripped to it like it's freaking Raiders of the Lost Ark. Okay? And so, no, I don't give Mummies a pass for being barely tolerable for my children at all. Assassin Club. Now, Assassin Club was an interesting trip for me.
Did your kids like that one?
Yeah, should have done.
Saw that one coming a mile away.
I got so much grief. I got so much grief because all I could talk about was John Wick, and so my son's asking me about it. He's 7 years old. He wants to. So I'm talking to him about John Wick. Obviously, a couple of days later, he's talking to my wife about John Wick. She's not impressed. He doesn't need to know about John Wick. I didn't go into any detail, just that he's pretty nifty at taking out large amounts of people with all kinds of weaponry. But yeah, it didn't.
So is Iron Man.
Assassin Club was new for me because it was my first trip to the screenings house in Soho.
How the other half get to swan around, eh?
It was,
no more links on your laptop for Mr. Harlow.
I'll take a link for this. I had to sit in that room and tolerate it, whereas I would have taken 17 breaks and probably done at least 3 other things at the same time if I'd have watched it at home on a screening link. Look, the thing about Assassin Club is that people are going to watch it on streaming. When it comes to streaming, you're going to get a kick out of it because it's Taken 2 without Liam Neeson. It's frenetically edited. It's horrifically scored. And the story is just brain-meltingly bad. It's all the cliches you could possibly imagine just thrown at you at such a speed that they hope you don't notice, but you'd have to be dead not to. Henry Golding, I think, is a charisma vacuum in it. I don't know whether he's a charisma vacuum full stop, but I'm prepared to say he might not be. He just is in this. Noomi Rapace is hilarious in it.
Cat wanted to get in on the act.
It's a bad film, and it is almost so bad it's good. I reckon people watch it with a lot of beer at home and go, "Yeah, that was very, very funny." Not supposed to be, but was. He gets almost immediately he gets shot. He like goes home to his girlfriend who thinks he's a photojournalist, and he's got a whopping great like bullet hole with a plaster on it. He's had a shower and he stuck a plaster on, so yeah, he's okay. But anyway, he's like, they're getting down to it, like, which is okay. Straight after bullet wounds, I think it's even advised. And so she takes his top off, and she's like, "What the hell is this?" And he's like, "Yeah, I came off my bike and got shot midair." It's like, and she's like, "Yeah, sure, that happens. It happens a lot to you, doesn't it? You come off your bike and get shot, don't you?" It's a really.
Is this not True Lies, the TV show?
No, actually, True Lies, the TV show, is a notch above this.
Oh my word!
Imagine how bad.
Oh my word!
True Lies TV show is like just blandly, monotonously generic, but it's not bad. It's maybe bad in the sense that they've taken True Lies and they've made it
and they've ruined it.
Burger without the meat.
All right. So the film was toss, but you went to a proper professional screening room. How was it?
He sat on Jonathan Ross's lap.
Did you ruffle Commode's quiff?
No, it's very odd though. There's a bunch of like professional reviewers in there, and they're all very old.
Did imposter syndrome
one
kick in?
Lady in there who, bless her, I don't know whether she's going to make it to the end. It's just, and I just thought, I was looking at her and thinking, I just can't imagine that this film is for you.
She's a pro though, Kaz. She's a pro.
She probably was a pro. She probably came out of it and gave it an 8.
She can keep it objective.
Have you read a review? Rip Roaring Entertainment, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I think
good for the kids.
Sheila from knittingmonthly.com.
I think one of the people in it read what the film was called and went to sleep in the corner. He's next to me. I'm back row kid here. He's next to me in the far corner, leaning against the wall.
Living the dream.
He was asleep. There's no trailers, so he had to get to sleep before the film started. It was.
Oh, how the other half live.
It was impressive. It was nice going there. I wouldn't mind doing it for a better film. One of the guys in there was like, "Great, I just got out of Renfield a minute ago, and that was great." And I said, "Oh, is there any chance this will be worth watching?" And he went, "Nope."
And he was the film's director.
Anyway, Tom did much better. He saw Super Mario Bros. The movie.
I like that you're calling it Super Mario Bros. Like that Mario and Luigi are played by like Matt and Luke Goss.
Will watch. Want to watch. Need to watch.
Yes. Everyone's on board for that.
Yes. I mean, it was a fine time. It's very colourful. It's very frenetic. It's very faithful to the spirit of Super Mario as. Don't want to overuse the word franchise, but I think with Super Mario, it's easily at that point now after decades and decades of being in the popular consciousness, and it is there's no way around it. It's a product, and it is a very well made product, very professional and slick, and no money back requested. It is exactly what I imagine the studio wanted them to deliver. Because
9 out of 10 then, yeah?
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10, straight to the bottom.
There's a lot of stuff in it that is massively enjoyable, hugely enjoyable. And essentially, the plot boils down to the plot of Super Mario Brothers, the NES game. It has advanced not a jot.
There's a plot. There's a plot to that game.
Well, quite. Like Mario goes to a castle to defeat Bowser to save Peach. Yeah, I think that literally happens in the movie, and that's what everything is sort of aiming towards. But in order to get to that position, what happens is they do some jumping about, they collect some power-ups from question blocks, they do a Smash Brothers fight with Donkey Kong, they do some Mario Kart, they reference as many Super Mario games as there have been, I suppose.
Oh, Mark would love this. It's ticking all the boxes. It's ticking all the nostalgia boxes.
Ahoy!
And none of it is bad. Not a single minute of it is like, oh God, I can't wait for this to end.
Do you like Picard then?
No, let's not go there.
Sorry, I did a naughty. Continue, Tom.
Thank you very much, Mark. So I would, I guess, fall on the side of recommending it, because while you're in it and watching it, it is so well put together that it all kind of works. Like the recreation of a Mario level that happens fairly early on is as good as you could make it for a film. And the fight between Mario and Donkey Kong, that's like a round of Smash Brothers, is as enjoyable as an experience as you can make it for a film. And I think what's missing from it is any attempt to elevate it above that. And I think I more or less wrote that in my review, and I think a lot of people took that as just blanket criticism, and it is not blanket criticism of the film. I think they have done an astounding job in putting together the most marketable Mario big screen adventure, but it is wafer thin. There is nothing to it, and
wafer thin.
It is wafer thin, and it is immediately forgettable. A lot of it. I mean, that some of the sequences will stick in your mind, like I imagine
you can't remember them.
Yeah,
you really got to think on that.
Yeah, the key sequence in it is the recreation of Mario Kart on the Rainbow Road, which is no spoiler because it's in the trailer, and it is, as a concept, good, and the execution of it is good. But it lasts for a few minutes, and I can't really tell you what happens in those few minutes other than it's Mario Kart on the Rainbow Road. And in that way, it feels like playing the game. I'm not saying it's a recreation of the feeling of playing a game, but the effect of it is you finish a round of Mario Kart and you're already thinking about the next round of Mario Kart. And it's kind of like that all the way through the movie. It moves from reference to reference to reference, and all of those individual parts are very competently put together, but it just doesn't really make a whole. So it's fun, but very disposable fun. So go catch it at the cinema and go and watch it, and you will probably have a good time. But
go see Nicolas Cage and Renfield again instead. Do that.
Take the kids. They'll love it.
Yeah. I mean, these are films for very different people.
Really?
Yeah. So I also saw Renfield at the end of last week, which is what everyone has been waiting for, which is Nick Cage as Dracula, which everybody has been waiting for since he thought he was a vampire 25 years ago. And it's very, very satisfying to see Nicolas Cage being Dracula. And the film could coast by on that. And it doesn't. And in some ways it should. And in some ways it's kind of admirable that it doesn't do that. The film is about Dracula's familiar, Robert Montague Renfield, who is a character from the novel, probably most memorably played by Ron Perlman, eating bugs in an insane asylum. But this is Renfield as given long life and superpowers through the grace of being Dracula's familiar. So it's set in the modern day. He is 90 years old, but still looks 25. Well, or however old Nicholas Hoult looks. How old does Nicholas Hoult look?
15.
17.
There we go.
31.
Thank you very much. The plot revolves around him and him trying to find a way out of this abusive relationship with Dracula. And it's framed as a domestic abuse scenario. And what's really, again, admirable about it is that it doesn't play that element of it for laughs. It plays that element of it quite seriously. And that's one of the best things about it. It's a really silly film. It's extremely violent. It's like explosively gory all the way through. But there's this little thread of actually considering their portrayal of what an abusive relationship is like. And it's oddly touching, and it shouldn't work, but it really does work. It's the most affecting part of the movie. And I was really impressed by that because I was enjoying it for what it was, which is things like Nicholas Hoult pulling the arms off one police officer and throwing them at another police officer so hard that it punctures his body armor and goes through his chest.
Score!
It is that kind of cartoonish stupidity that is just a joy.
If only they'd put that on the Mario Kart bit in Super Mario Bros. You'd have remembered that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you imagine?
Sounds ace.
It is really, really fun. But bolted onto the side of that is like a cop movie about busting a drugs gang, which does not work. It is just so miscalculated. Awkwafina is in it, and she's great, and Ben Schwartz is in it, and he's great. But that part of the movie that they're holding together is just a bad idea, and it doesn't hold it together, and it doesn't work. And it's really unfortunate because about 75% of this movie is pure silliness. And it's like, I'm trying to remember, it's like the elements of The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, also starring Nick Cage, which didn't work, which are the Tiffany Haddish police bits that are bolted onto the side, which actually you don't want to see that. You just want to see the bits with Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage. Those are the good bits. And this is just like the plot that the movie seems to think has to happen. Yeah, and it's exactly the same in Renfield.
You almost wish they just would trust in not needing it.
The characters. They should just trust with the characters.
Yeah, they should, but they don't anymore. It's not marketable. They have to give it some kind of weird ass hook.
Yeah.
Or even worse, a very plain ass hook.
Yeah. I'd have just taken more of Nicolas Cage's face-off flashback sequence in
2 hour locked off camera, Nick Cage, Dracula, go. Done, take my money.
That would work. That will work for me. There's the first couple of minutes, they literally reshoot the moment where Bela Lugosi walks down the stairs with the candelabra with Nick Cage, and it is pitch perfect. It is so good, and he hits it spot on. And at the start of the film, I was like, this is great, but I hope it's not all just this. And it isn't, and that's great. So I do recommend it, but go in with expectations in check so that when all of this drugs gang nonsense, giving Dracula powers to a criminal gang, like bullshit. Just wait for that to pass, because it will pass over and it will get back to the stupid violence again.
So what you're saying is, Tommy, it had just the right amount of the nostalgia. This had just the right amount, not
exactly.
too much.
It had
not
it for like
too much.
2 minutes and then ejected it.
Right,
Perfect.
okay. Like a warp core, you could potentially say.
Oh, you're so itching. We're never going to get there. We're going to run out of time before we talk about Picard.
I don't even.
we will.
I don't know
Bracing
what
for
he's talking
impact
about.
here. Never going to happen.
I don't know what he's on about. Like,
Yeah.
True
Kirk,
that.
Be quiet in the back. Yes. Okay. Well, I think it's fair to say that go and see Renfield.
Yes,
is the answer to this.
Sure.
If you're not 7, but go and see Renfield. 4K to 4K or not to 4K.
4 candles.
Yes, everyone seems to have gone out and watched Naked Lunch, but me. So tell us about Naked Lunch, Simon.
Naked Lunch. Naked Lunch is a weird-ass film.
It's David Cronenberg. What are you going to do?
Well, yeah, but a lot of his stuff has got a kind of a narrative running through it. I mean, this, based on the book by Burroughs, is completely bonkers and off the wall. It does have a very, I don't know if you can call it a plot. It's got a sort of a single thread weaving it through of the guy by discovering his wife taking his bug spray as a narcotic, and the ramifications of that lead him down a weird and wonderful path that is at once difficult to follow and at once unbelievably frustrating to follow. It's a very difficult film to enjoy, but then equally you've watched it and you go, what have I just seen? I might have to watch that again because it's just bonkers. It really is. It really is. They've done very, very well on that. I mean, it's an Arrow release. When did it come out? Yesterday? Today? 17th. Yes, it came out today. So I reviewed the disc, I don't know, three or 4 weeks ago. It's been on early access for a long time, but only went live last week, I think. Yeah, it's a spectacular looking disc from Arrow. Very, very nicely, very, very nicely done. Fully restored. Beautiful detail on it. Absolutely gorgeous looking. The Dolby Vision on it is fantastic. Really giving some rich vibrancy to the colours. It looks magnificent. Can't fault it for that. It's got two soundtracks. A 2.0, they're both DTS HDMA. One is 2.0, one is 5.1. They're both very, very good. I actually preferred the 5.1. I thought it was an incredibly good surround track, really opening up the expand when you're walking through the various weird and wonderful places that he visits, particularly the markets in I was going to say Marrakesh. It's more Morocco, isn't it? That kind of area.
Interzone.
Yeah, wherever he's supposed to be. But it's fantastically done. A really rich, like the visuals, really rich and vibrant surround experience. And Arrow once again have piled on the extras, and they're all on the 4K disc as well. It's come out as a very lavish box set with all bells and whistles, which I didn't get. Yeah, it's a difficult, very, very difficult film to recommend. So yeah, this is worth getting because the film is so enigmatic and so difficult to really kind of get your head around. I think you kind of have to know it to say, yeah, that's a great film. I'm going to get that. Because if you say to someone, hey, this is great, watch this, it's just going to blow your mind, and you put it on and you can sit there and you can fall one way and go, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It makes no sense. What is he doing? Why is he doing that? Why did that happen? Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
But if you like it and you can get into it, it's got something, it's got that David Cronenberg little X factor that you can put into a film, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe
bugs crawling.
Bugs crawling out. Yeah, but they're not little, they're man-sized bugs.
Yeah, man-sized bugs.
Man-sized bugs, and he wants, and they all ask him to put the to put the narcotic in various parts of their body. You know, it's just
only Cronenberg.
Yeah, it's a strange show.
Oh, nice.
It reminded. So I watched it this morning, and do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of what Lynch sometimes does, where you're watching it, and what you're actually watching makes no sense whatsoever, but there is enough there to make you want to understand what is going on. You watch some of the extra features on the Naked Lunch disc, and you realise that the film only has taken vague bits out of the book, and they've taken a huge amount from. I think the biggest inspiration was the autobiography of William Burroughs.
His own life story.
There's a huge amount of Burroughs in it. The minute you know that, and suddenly you start seeing the story about a writer who's on these strange drugs, and his typewriter is becoming alive, and that typewriter is not working. He gets another bug, and suddenly it becomes more about Burroughs as a man, his relationship with narcotics, his relationship with writing, and it's that little hook which makes you think, okay, I think I kind of get what that giant bug thing suckling on that other bug thing's teeth is about, but I might be very wrong. So yeah, I totally agree, Si. Unless you are willing to put the graft in to
you need to put some effort into it.
What is behind it all? It's just going to really annoy the crap out of you.
This is why Simon has put Fear and Loathing on the back burner, isn't he?
It's far more obtuse than Fear. Fear and Loathing's like it's like a Super Mario Brothers compared to this. Except not for kids, y'all.
Oh, nice. Well, that's out now, and soon we have Second Sight's Picnic at Hanging Rock, don't we, Mark?
Yes, we do. The immeasurable, immortal, enigmatic Picnic at Hanging Rock. Peter Weir's 1975 masterpiece. It is a masterpiece. It's a very, very strange film, though. Not quite as on a level as Cronenberg's Naked Lunch, but it is a mystery with no resolution. And how you feel about that is purely what you're going to take away from this film. For those of you that don't know, it's 1900. It's a girls' boarding school in the outback in Australia. On Valentine's Day, they go for a picnic to this infamous geological outcropping, the titular Hanging Rock. And while they are there, 3 of the girls and their governess disappears. And the film is the fallout from that. Possibly the book and the story behind the film is almost as interesting as the film itself. It's written as if these events were real. The author strongly, she all but came out and said it was true. She didn't deny that it wasn't. And so for years, many people thought that these were historical events. Nothing of the sort. All just completely made up. But the film is all about mood. It is all about atmosphere. It is all about the impact on everyone else of these girls going missing. But it is more about the location, the landscape, the time. It is Australia at that time. It was the year before Australia was formally recognized as a single state. All these things go into it, and it is more about humans need to understand and therefore be master of their own environment and destiny, and what happens when that ownership simply isn't there. It is very slow. It is very languid. For some, it will frustrate and annoy. For others, it'll be the masterpiece that many people say it is. I'm erring towards the masterpiece. So I'm not 100% sold on the 10 out of 10 of it yet. There's a few. I can't help it. I am exactly what the film is poking fun at and critiquing. I want to know. I need to know. God damn it, what happened to them? But there's no denying sort of the power of the film. It's shot spectacularly. It won a BAFTA back in 1977 for its cinematography. It's dripping in this dreamlike sense of another world, another time, and it is probably a one of a kind of film. So Second Sight, yes, they're on a roll. They've smashed it out of the park recently with their 4K box sets of Martin and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and now we have this. It's a tale of two halves, I think, in the box set for me. So first things first, it's got a brand new 4K restoration on, which is causing some kerfuffle, shall we say, over in that there Tinternet land. It's a Peter Weir approved master that has been sent to Second Sight, but let's just say Peter Weir has enhanced some of those woozy visuals with a dose of DNR, and it's caused some scenes to go a little bit woozy, a little bit way, a little bit smeary. Now, apparently, that's Peter Weir approved, all baked into the master that was sent to Second Sight. The rest of the 4K restoration, though, looks absolutely superb. It's got rid of that sort of really thin, weedy contrast ratio that the Criterion release had, and now you've got some proper dark blacks, you've got some proper bright highlights. The rest of the picture looks great. It's this use of DNR, which is just a little bit... I mean, we're not talking Terminator 2 levels here, not by a long shot, but it's just one of those where you think, why? It's not blanket, it's not over everything. Why there and not there? Why there and not there? However, Second Sight have pushed the boat out in terms of the rest of the package. You've got the 2 cuts for starters. So I believe you've not been able to get both cuts available in the same package for, well, ever. Certainly in HD. So you've got the director's cut and you've got the theatrical cut. The director's cut is 15 minutes-ish shorter than the director's cut and than the theatrical cut, and is actually better. It tightens things up. Each cut gets its own UHD disc. There is a raft of extras. There is a 2-hour-long making of. There's a brand new audio commentary. There's brand new interviews. There's legacy interviews. There's a copy of the novel thrown into the box. It looks absolutely superb. However, and here is the rub, it comes at a cost. Now,
70 quid.
Look at Martin and you look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Those were big boxes that were coming out at 50 quid. This box is 70 quid. And for me, there's no justification. There's no justification for that extra 20 quid. Martin had a soundtrack CD. This has got a novel. Texas Chainsaw Massacre had this massive 190-page book. This has got a book in it, which we haven't seen, but it's nowhere near that. So, there's a real sense of why is this limited edition 20 quid more? I can't justify it. And if I hadn't already got the check discs, thanks Second Sight, this is one where I would not be stumping up for the limited edition. I just can't see the value in it. Even the standard edition is fairly high. It's $29.99, which I think is still 5 quid more than what the standard editions of Texas Chainsaw and Martin were. So this one has got a real price bump, which feels a bit out of whack. But overall, it's another handsome, lavish 4K restoration of a classic film. Slight issues with its picture quality, but overall, I can't. I think Second Sight are absolutely smashing it out the park so far, and I've got my fingers crossed for the Hitcher at the end of this year. Ooh, please, Second Sight, let's have some of this. So yeah,
I've been talking about that for so long.
Oh,
One day,
just imagine when it's released if they drop a bollock on it. Oh god, the internet will just melt.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's solid set.
And that's coming out early
1st of May.
1st of May. Well, we've got another May release, end of May, I think. Arrow's 4K release of, it's the most highly anticipated Michael Mann film. Second only to
it's his best.
Public Enemies, maybe, which is Blackhat.
Ass hat.
Yeah, look. Yeah, that just sums it up. I've got time for it. I can watch it, but there are so many Michael Mann films that I would rate as being examples of why he's regarded as a very good director.
So many Michael Mann films you'd want to see in 4K, Kaz, like Heat.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that in 4K. Yeah, I would. Last time was a little dark, but yeah, give me Manhunter. Give me all 4 cuts of Manhunter. Maybe more than 4 cuts. Give me my Miami Vice, which they are doing. They're actually doing that. I'll take Miami Vice. I would like Last of the Mohicans. I would even like Ali. Again, 2 or 3 cuts of that probably. I would like all of these.
The Insider. Oh,
I'd like The Insider.
love
Yes,
that.
I would like them to go through Michael Mann's film history and give me all of the films apart from this and Public Enemies. And once they've done all of those, I will go, thank you for giving me all the Michael Mann films. And if they released a box set with all of them and Blackhat and Public Enemies in it, I would smile at those who hadn't picked up the individual releases and still not get it.
All right, I haven't seen this. Is it really that bad?
Not bad.
Is it
No,
just not on
it's
a
not
par
bad.
with?
It's not bad. It's just not on a par. It's not
Okay.
bad at all. It's a perfectly watchable film.
I remember finding it quite boring when I watched it.
It's because Michael Mann is gone. I'm going to take 10 years and I'm going to really research like the digital realm. I'm going to do this bleeding edge thriller that is basically Michael Mann's Swordfish. And Swordfish, even with Michael Mann behind the camera, was never going to be good. It almost did better for being bad. So bad it was good. But like Michael Mann can't turn Swordfish into a good film. And like, the opening of Blackhat is tracing a hacker's command through the electronic pulse and wires. I mean, through the computer and then through lines and then into a server somewhere. I'm really not sure that's how it works. But
And then by the end of it, he's hacked a Gibson.
It's just, it's not, it doesn't, you watch it and you go, this is dated. Oh, look, it's Thor. And Thor is his maximum security, imprisoned, hardcore. He does push-ups with vertical push-ups, hacker, ultra hacker, who they desperately need to get out of prison so he can save the world from worse hackers. And Chris Hemsworth, bless him, he's just not convincing.
And
He's no Hugh Jackman.
But this was way before anyone was giving Hemsworth any credit for having a little bit of range, which he does have a little bit of range.
Yeah, but he has range,
but
I think, towards comedy more than towards playing.
Do you know what?
This.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I disagree with that. I think he's got actual range because he's very good at the goofy surfer guy, and he very clearly enjoys being that in Thor. But I thought he was real convincing in someone help me out here.
Ghostbusters.
His action movie.
Extraction.
Thank you. Thank you. And like totally
That's what
convinced.
you're giving him for his acting.
No, he did a decent job in that. Like genuinely, he was convincing.
He was, but I don't have a problem with his action chops.
Yeah.
But this is where they're trying to get him to play a seasoned ex-con master convict super hacker. It's too much.
Yeah,
I do agree with you. In fact, I would say some of his range was actually in the Marvel movies. He's had moments where he's lost people who his character should care about, where I fully buy into him. In amongst all the joking and all the rest of it, I fully buy into him seeing the pain on his face, seeing the trauma he's going to. I fully buy into it. I think
his favorite Thor movie is The Dark World.
I buy into that moment.
I don't
anyway,
like the Dark World.
Of course you don't, Mark. Of course you don't.
No, just the right amount of nostalgia.
I have got time for Hemsworth, but what he's being asked for here is bad because Michael Mann, he springs cliched, stereotypical characters on his lead actors in almost all his movies. And it's up to the lead actor to turn that really, really cliched rote role into something memorable. All of them, like you think about Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in Heat. They're horrendously cliched characters. It's just they're brought to life in a way by those two people that it seems like they're the pinnacle of the horrendously cliched character.
And I don't think it had occurred to me that they were horrendously cliched characters, though, while watching the movie, because that was at the time because I think that was at a time when Michael Mann was like shaping those tropes or taking them and doing something a bit interesting with them
I don't know.
rather
If
than
you
just
watch
regurgitating them.
Thief and then watch Heat,
Hang on,
it's
isn't
like,
he a copy of his own LA Takedown?
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
Well, yeah.
yeah,
But like,
if you watch
you
watch James Caan in Thief,
yeah,
and then you watch Heat, I mean, they're just he it feels like to me he goes a lot for very cool but a little bit cliched characters, which is fine.
elevated genre. That's all it is.
Yeah,
Elevated
okay.
genre.
It's
I'll
fine.
accept that.
I don't
Sure.
mind that, and all of the actors who've been in his film, including people like Tom Cruise, have taken these roles of the cool, tough anti-hero hitman and made it something a little bit more interesting because they're good actors. Now, Hemsworth just wasn't that experienced, and they've given him a similar role, and I think he's a little bit dull in it. And he tries, he's got all the same dialogue, and it's like you get him to say stuff like you don't let the time do you, you do the time, or whatever, something really terribly cliched, and you get him to say it versus you get, I don't know, James Caan to say it, or Danny
you to
Trejo
say it as we've just seen.
It just doesn't sound right coming out of him. It sounds like he's reading a Michael Mann line.
Is it as good as Ian Softly's Hackers? That's all I want to know.
It's a perfectly watchable film with some engaging Michael Mann gunfights, some interesting ideas to it around hacking and the threat of hacking, and
then Johnny Lee Miller leans out of the window and shouts, "Hack the planet." That's the best bit of the movie.
Doesn't have that in it, unfortunately. That's probably the director's cut. The man
Matthew Lillard and his four plats.
But it's it's a serviceable movie. I think I landed on a 7 for it. I'm sure some people would just forgive it and give it higher, but it's just, there's nothing wrong with a 7. It's just a 7 from Michael Mann is like, what are you playing at? So that's where it's a little bit disappointing. All of the pieces are there. I just don't think he's quite put it together. There's one really, really good shootout. It doesn't really involve Hemsworth, but the shootout occurs and it has proper impact to it about 3/4 of the way into the film. And you think, why couldn't you have done like the whole film with that kind of threat and sense to it? It just doesn't seem to have as good a handle on it. Arrow do have a good handle on their native 4K Dolby Vision enhanced restoration. It's a lovely disc. It looks better than ever before, and that's not hard because it came out, I think, on Blu-ray the same year that the film was released, because it was more able then, and it was a little bit one of those sickly yellowy, greeny tinged kind of releases. It's none of that this time around. It looks a lot more natural and vibrant, not like popping crazy, but enough to give it a new lease of life.
Not too dark then.
Not at all. It's his first like fully digital film, I think, as well, which it looks good, and it hasn't come from that era. He tinkered with it during an era where probably going digital wasn't the greatest idea. But I think it looks great. The audio, I mean, Mann was going through this really weird phase, I think, where he just did a Nolan and he decided people didn't need to hear audio. But it's strange because the audio, and I compared this to the old Blu-ray, there's loads of ADR in the movie, and I don't really notice ADR. I mean, that's the point of ADR. If it's done right, you don't notice it. But I mean, almost all the movies we watch must have loads of it.
Mm-hmm.
But here you'll get like Hemsworth talking, and his dialogue will like shift in volume levels midway through saying 2 or 3 lines because of the ADR they've done. And it sounds horrendous. I can't understand why he let that through. So really...
that's exactly how real life hackers talk, Kaz.
He hacked the audio as he was speaking.
Maybe he did. But it's disappointing. If you tinker with it, you end up with really, really loud gunshots and quite an overbearing score and kind of variable audio, which didn't work for me. And it's the same as before. There's a bunch of extra features. It's a nice box set. Arrow, they love to port their stuff over to the 4K disc, and I love them for it. I am very, very happy that they seem to be the major players on the market who are more than prepared to sling it all on one disc. So it is a lovely release, and I like Michael Mann enough. I would happily recommend picking it up. I mean, I would pick up all the films in it. I'm just a bit miffed that they couldn't pick like 5 other films that I would jump on before this. So there's Blackhat, and I can only hope that with Blackhat and Miami Vice coming this year, we get some of his older classics soon enough. What could be a modern future classic but never will be is Gerard Butler's Plane. Now, it's called Plane and it stars Gerard Butler, and I would like to say that everybody should have known exactly how this was going to pan out, but it isn't Angel Has Fallen, and it's surprisingly good. It's like someone took everything you'd want from a Gerard Butler film and then went, let's make it a little bit like Sully, a little bit like Captain Phillips. Let's give it a little bit of heart and a little bit of genuine threat, and let's make him more of a normal captain who only occasionally breaks people's heads. And it strangely kind of works. It's all kinds of levels of preposterous. Some of the stuff that I don't know how they take seriously themselves, but they do. And so you kind of do, and you kind of gloss over it when ridiculous stuff happens. And there's some ridiculous stuff in this movie. But I was on board with Butler and his plane full of people who are terrorized for no apparent reason when they land somewhere they shouldn't, and then after there's a rescue, there's running away, there's lots of threats, and there's a particularly spectacular ending which I can't spoil, but is so over the top. You'll either be grinning and going, I can't believe I enjoyed that, or you'll be hating on the movie. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a straight up and down 7 as well, but it's strange because Butler, it's almost like you expect worse from him in this period of his career. You expect him to do a full Neeson, and you expect everything to be sort of just above straight to video. But he keeps kind of doing something slightly different, and it keeps kind of working. I had a lot of time for Greenland. It shouldn't have been anything. It was like a low budget disaster flick. I had a lot of time for Butler in Greenland, and he did Cop Shop, I think, as well, and he was cracking in that as well. So he seems to be, and I like Den of Thieves. It's not Heat, but it doesn't have to be. So I've got some time for this weird period that Butler's going through. I just think maybe he shouldn't call the next one Train. I think maybe we can see where that.
Yeah, you could have a trilogy with automobiles.
Haven't they already announced the sequel?
Yeah, they have,
which is called Boat.
Yeah, I wouldn't
know. But it doesn't include. It doesnn't involve Butler. It's about Mike Coulter's character.
That's an epic fail, and I'm getting the feeling the Has Fallen series is going to go down the same route, and I just don't think it needs it, because 90% of what makes this work is really Butler. And it's a testament to him that he's actually trying to act in this, and that he pulls it off. He's actually kind of good. And
is he Hemsworth good?
I liked him. He's good in this.
He's good in it. Yeah, I've seen it. It's a good film. There's 2 really, really good scenes in it. The first is the one take fight in the hut with the radio, the phone. Good. That is absolutely awesome. And the other one is when they bring out the 50 cal and they're blowing holes through the engines. It's awesome.
That is very satisfying. It's a very satisfying thing, which brings me to the disc. It's a native 4K disc, Dolby Vision from Lionsgate. Very nice picture, looks lovely. I mean, it's a modern release. I think it's digital. It looks great, but the audio is off the charts good. It's a Atmos track, and it's one of the best tracks I've heard this year. It's demo and then some, and when they start cracking out the heavy ordnance, it's a very satisfying track. There are a few extra features, but I didn't really expect this to come to 4K at all. So it's nice that they've done a good job on 4K, and I think people who like Butler will be pleasantly surprised by this. Yes, which gives us like 2 minutes to talk about Superman, and then we can completely skip Picard until next time. It's great.
Superman. Well, Picard is we still got another episode of that, so
yeah, I think we'll save it. I feel like we'll save it.
I teased you guys earlier before we turn the poddy on. I've got 2 deliveries from Amazon. Both are for me, obviously. One is the Superman's and one isn't. So let's
higher
open and we find out, shall we?
Oh, sorry, I thought it was like we need some cheesy game show music going on.
Oh my god, it literally is an unboxing.
It is an unboxing, yes. Oh, again, apologies for people who aren't watching us live or later on YouTube. If you're just listening to the audio, I've just opened up an Amazon box, and it is. Oh, look at this! Look at that, Department S. That's almost Superman, isn't it?
Did you get my dad's package by mistake, Si?
Which means by process of elimination. Can you hear the rip? 3 discs. Here we go. Let's get them in order. Superman 1 and 2. Superman, 2 and 2. The Donna
Superman 2 and 2,
yeah. Superman 2 and 2. Jolly good. Might get that one watched tonight. I doubt it. Superman 3. It's going downhill fast. And Superman 4. They've hit rock bottom.
I mean, they should have made the 4 a number 4. It just feels like a missed opportunity.
And
there.
those
Superman
covers
Ivy
are toss. I mean, oh my god. Yeah. Should have got the Steelies, Si. Those Steelies are well fit.
There you go. Yeah, they are. I don't think I'll bother opening them all up to go inside. But
I can't believe
these will be coming soon. They were released again today, so I've only just got them. But I'll knock them out and hopefully get them all done by the end of the week.
Excellent.
Nice.
Maybe not that one.
No, we want that first.
Yeah, you've got to do that one first.
They'll be in order.
We want it reappraised.
And then if you're lucky, you might get Department S as well.
No thanks.
What do you mean no thanks? It's awesome.
I haven't seen the first Department A to R, so I'll be all at sea.
Well, let's see. I see what you did there. Oh, that's good. I enjoyed that.
Right. Upcoming on 4K.
Go
on.
Hang on. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to rattle through this really quickly?
No, just talk about Bruce Lee. Bruce
Lee. Arrow's Golden Harvest Bruce Lee set was announced on Friday. It's going to be a rather special, longer cut of Big Boss, new longer fight sequence from Game of Death. It's going to be the shizzle.
Although I'm disappointed it includes Enter the Dragon, but only on Blu-ray.
I know, that's a bit silly, isn't it?
They put Enter the Dragon on the actual box art. Like they write Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be fooled for thinking it's got Enter the Dragon in 4K on there.
Yeah, but you know what? They've been clever because obviously they don't have the rights to it, do they? Because Warner Brothers are bringing out their own 4K. What they're at least doing is letting us buy the Warner Brothers one and at least stick it in the box set. So you've got a full Bruce Lee box. So I think Arrow are canny there.
Well done.
But it's also got the Bruce Lee biopics on there. Well, not biopics, documentaries on there, which are so interesting.
And Game of Death 2, which is not so
interesting. I mean, that's interesting for another reason.
So that's bumper, but it doesn't stop there. Sticking with the boutiques, Criterion have, in the States, they've announced a 5-film 4K collection of Randolph Scott Westerns. However, the big release that Criterion have announced is Scorsese's After Hours in 4K.
Big? Is it big though? Really?
Yes. It's a great film.
Yes. Okay. I'm not saying it's not, but like Last Temptation of Christ.
Yeah, it's not Blackhat like why, but it's not far off.
It's not far off.
You can choose a better Scorsese movie to release.
It's like Ali rather than Blackhat.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's like I'm happy with that this is getting a 4K release, but still, why?
Yeah, but don't forget. Well, Criterion they had Raging Bull, didn't they? So they've already put Raging Bull out on 4K.
I want Bringing Out the Dead. That's what I'm waiting
Yeah, but
for.
Criterion don't have it.
I don't care. I want it.
They got Last Temptation of Christ. They've got Last Temptation of Christ.
Anyway,
Yeah.
moving
That's all
away.
you can say to that.
Moving away, we've got some very Paramount still apparently are doing the God's work and releasing some good and some potentially baffling catalog releases. We've got Tom Cruise's The Firm and Vanilla Sky. One of those is good, one of them isn't.
Oh, I like them. I like them both.
Both of them are kind of like, yeah,
nah,
okay.
I like them both. I got time for Cruise.
Blah blah blah. Ronin we knew was coming out. One False Move, also Criterion, is an interesting one because it appears that not many people have ever heard of that. But Carl
No, I think
Franklin's
it's
debut
cracking.
with Bill Paxton's
Yeah.
first lead, so it's all good.
Yeah.
And apparently, Kaz has put here that Master and Commander is coming to. Oh no. For those that wanted Master and Commander on 4K, Studio Canal are letting us have Cutthroat Island instead. Well, thank you very much, Studio Canal.
Cutthroat Island's like the proto Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, it was pirates before they were cool, man.
Yeah.
Now you're talking of all the Rennie Harlin films. Of all the Rennie Harlin films, that's the one they give us.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
come on. Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Come on.
I remember when it came out at the cinema and I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Yes. However, I've also snuck in after me sitting through 88 films' Italian trash-to-piece Ark of the Sun God yesterday on 4K.
I do it.
They are continuing pace with their Italian releases, and we are getting more of their Italian collection releases coming. The end of May, we've got Burial Ground, nice, and on 26th of June, the immeasurable, the immortal Zombie Holocaust.
Yeah, but that's not cool. Isn't Zombie Holocaust one of the ones that's got like animal cruelty like woven into it? That's not cool.
It's not cool. That's why I called it a trash-to-piece.
No, it's not a trash. It's just trash. It's not cool.
Well, then let's we could have the Cannibal Holocaust conversation.
That's Cannibal Holocaust. That's
my
not
God.
zombie.
No, it's
there's
throughout
all
man.
of them. All
Throughout.
of them. Cannibal Ferox.
Yeah,
you name
throughout
it,
any of the Italian
the Italians are not fans of
Cannibal
anything smaller
oeuvre.
than them.
Yeah, it's not. It's by no means just Cannibal Holocaust.
No, but Cannibal Holocaust is probably the only one that's good.
Yeah,
is where we were going with that.
Good / worthy of note.
We will take that.
yeah.
Okay. And on that note, I'm going to say that we have no time for any TV. So we're not going to talk about how
Picard is bad.
Oh, Picard's amazing.
How Mark and
Picard's gone downhill.
Mark and
They
Tom
crashed that Enterprise. It should have stayed there.
are struggling with
Yeah, I was going to say, watch what we say, Si.
Oh my God, we had like no time to talk TV, and we managed to still spoil it. So
don't watch it. It's bad. Just don't worry about the spoilers because it's bad. So don't watch it.
So
It's
there's
not that
that, and
pretty
there's
bad.
Mando, which we're also
No.
not going to talk about.
Now, Mando's
No time.
bad.
Very up and down.
I'm enjoying it, and I also enjoyed The Night Agent, which I've heard is like 1 out of 10, but I enjoyed it. Sorry.
Oh no, it's another Luther.
It's just it's not as good as Luther.
Anyway, we can have this proper discussion next week after we've all seen the end of Picard, the season
Oh
finale.
God, yes, we can, and it's the end of Mando, isn't it? Next week,
Yeah,
Yeah.
both of them.
next
Yeah, it
week,
is.
this
Finishing
week?
this week.
Something.
Excellent.
See
and we can
how
talk about-
badly they can trash both of these.
Yes, we
I
can
reckon
talk
it's going to be a
about.
crossover episode.
Yeah, we can
Yes.
talk about all of them, and
I want to see Picard cry over Grogu. That's what I want to see.
I'm going to recommend Shrinking as my recommendation. Of if everyone goes out and watches a couple of episodes of Shrinking, I'm going to say that it's possibly the best Harrison Ford I've seen in his entire career. I think he's absolutely cracking in it. I think it's got a lot of heart. It's very funny.
The best Harrison Ford you've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't mean the most iconic.
What?
Get the hell off my playing card.
I think he is absolutely tremendous in it.
Unbelievable.
He is
I
really,
quit.
really good at it.
Quit.
And
You
on
can
that
stick
bombshell,
your poddy.
he is
Honestly.
Great in this.
Okay.
Whereas in everything he's ever done, all the indie everything, I love him. He's iconic. But I wouldn't say that, someone hand him a damn Oscar because he's really pulling off a tremendous performance here. I wouldn't.
Witness?
No, I wouldn't give him a freaking Oscar for Witness.
1923.
I think he's tremendous in this. I think he's leagues better than in 1923. And I think
Anyway,
they
my
did a
pick,
tremendous job with it.
Department S.
Oh God.
What have you guys got against
Yes.
Department S? It's
No,
a
It'll
great
be
show.
4:3 aspect ratio, black and
Yeah.
white mono.
No, it's not black
That's
and white.
what
I have
we
you know,
want.
it's colour. Fully restored by Network on Air. It has been out a few years, mine, but it's damn fine TV.
Coming soon. Tom's weighing up the Pope's Exorcist and the Musketeers.
I don't think I'm going to see the Pope's. I can't really be bothered with the Pope's Exorcist, but I will see the Musketeers tomorrow.
No, I know. I was weighing up. You were weighing up but you just spoilt it. I
No,
was
fuck
going to
it.
leave it in the balance. I was going to say you're going to pick one to watch.
Nah,
Leave them wanting.
I'm not-
Leave them on a
no.
cliffhanger.
No, don't expect the Pope's Exorcist. I'm not going to see it.
Okay. Yeah. So Tom's deciding which to watch between the Pope's Exorcist and the Musketeer.
It's going to be the Three Musketeers.
Uh,
D'Artagnan.
Simon's doing Coraline. You're doing Coraline?
Coraline, yeah.
4K. Coraline on 4K. And some Superman.
And some
Brand-
Superman.
Brand
Supermans.
new release Coraline.
And
It's
some
only a few months old. Get out of it.
fear and loathing in Las Vegas.
Superman.
And-
Oh, yes. I've got that to do as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've no idea what Mark's doing because he was going to do Ark of the Sun God, but I
No.
think he threw up.
I'm doing Evil Dead Rise.
True. There's
Come
that.
on.
Mark's
There's that.
weighing up
Okay.
what he's going to do, but it'll be Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to go and see if Apple have ruined their streak with Ghosted, which I've watched the trailer for. The trailer looks god awful. It looks so bad. So I'm hoping
Terrible.
the trailer is so bad that it's actually watchable.
No.
And I'm really worried about the Russo brothers, whether they'll ruin their streak with Amazon's new show Citadel by casting Richard Madden and Priyanka Chopra in the leads. I mean, my God, what are you doing, Russo brothers?
Richard Madden's okay, but I think the Russo brothers are already on they've for a couple of years they've been on what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Richard Madden needs a good supporting cast
I thought you were going to say agent.
to make him like do something watchable. I can't imagine him and Priyanka Chopra. Anyway, let's see, shall we?
I'm waiting for a Jonas Brothers cameo.
Oh my. Anyway,
You know it's coming.
Right. Do let us know if there's anything we've not covered that you think we should check out. And that's it for the AV Forums podcast this week. My thanks to the movie team, Mark Costello,
Night all.
Simon Crust,
Department S, you know it's good.
Tom Davies.
Enterprise D.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel, plus hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when we publish our live streams, product reviews, and more. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook and bookmark avforums.com for the latest reviews, news, and videos. Plus, why not leave us a 5-star rating on whichever service you use if they allow it, but only if you enjoyed the show. I'm Kaz Harlow. Thank you for watching and listening, and join us for another podcast next week? Question mark, Ron Burgundy?
2 weeks.